Well, hello.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Welcome back to our podcast. We're making a movie. I'm Tara,
I'm Natalie.
and we are making a movie. And this is a podcast about making said movie. If you're joining us for the first time ever, this is Natalie and I's little behind the scenes adventure of us making our very first feature film. So this isn't just like a general conversation about filmmaking. We are literally making our first feature film, and this whole podcast is following along in our real time adventure of doing that. And where we are right now is the ever exciting development portion of making a movie.
And we are in the hunt for a DP right now. Our
That's what's
director is
going
out
on.
there doing that part because that's not
Doing
our job, evidently.
Not in our hands, and we don't like when things are not in our hands. Before we get rolling, we got some exciting breaking news to relay to you guys.
That's just in.
We took second place winner for feature screenplay for our movie Turns Out at Rocket City short film festival. It's very, very exciting. We got the Instagram notification, and every time I'm like, "Are you serious? Are you sure? Did you read it?" Like,
Did you read?
did you read it? I know the title is really good. Like, it always amazes me how well it's been really exciting how well this script has done in screenplay competitions, to the point that I think, like, at some point, I think we do a podcast episode about this experience, because it's been surprising and educational and really cool so far.
And I want to add in there, which I think is really fun. No one knows this part of this, is that at the same time in all these same competition, Allison and Mike have another script. Now, it's not theirs. It's another script that they're slated to be
part of.
Producer director on, that they keep submitting to places, or they, same places that they're recommending we submit. So they were in Cordillera as well, that we won up against Cook with the Heart, which is a comedy, but it's what won first place. So their other script that they have slated on their docket just won first place at this festival, and this one won second place. And we keep doing this to each other at festivals. And I was like, man, you guys got some good movies coming out. Just going to throw that out there.
I mean, like, whenever we lose to them, it's so fun, because I'm like, hey, we're all, like, the family's represented. We're all up there. Yeah, it's so fun.
It's good fun.
And we saw the Cook with the Heart short film, and I loved it.
It's
so I'm
really
like, that
good. Yeah.
feature's got to be fun. Like, it just does. Before we get rolling, a reminder that we have an Instagram account now up and running for Turns Out, and a Facebook. So if you want to follow along on our adventure there, we made the decision to start to do the marketing part of the feature film now. So and that's why it's got its own Instagram accounts, because you start marketing as soon as humanly possible.
And both of those are Turns Out movie.
Yeah.
Turns Out movie.
Also, if you are out there watching us live on YouTube, there's a thing called a super chat. So if a super chat is where you can give us some little monies. If you want to help us make a movie with a little bit of funds, use the super chat feature to send us, $5, $10. There's no amount that is too small. All of the money from the super chats is going to go directly into our bank account, which is being set up right now by our lawyers, which is really exciting as well. If you want to give a bigger denomination, or want to do it privately or off of our live stream.
Want to be an executive producer for Turns Out It's the Apocalypse We Think?
Email us, PayPal us. There are so many ways to be a part of this situation. And again, any amount is helpful. It all builds, one bite at a time. You can eat an elephant, but don't eat elephants. That's wrong. That's bad.
I don't know. It could feed a whole village. I'm just saying.
I'm just spitballing here. You could all eat an elephant and feed a village. Anyways, moving on. All right. Today we're still on DPs. We're still mired in this DP conversation that we're having. I'm enjoying myself. We're changing our interviews today, though. We're
Yeah.
shifting gears.
We're still in Iowa and we're still driving.
Quoting ourselves.
So we just got done with 2 interviews with some really great cinematographers. Wei Wang, who we've worked with a bazillion times, and Brandon Cox, who we've never worked with before at all, but has worked with better than the likes of us. Cough, cough. Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson, Al Pacino.
Cough, cough.
So we interviewed them, just trying to figure out what exactly does a DP do? What does a cinematographer do? What is their role at this stage in filmmaking? And now we're switching gears a little bit. We're still talking about DPs, but we are going to interview some of our favorite directors and about them, the collaboration process, and finding a DP and what you're looking for in a DP. Yeah.
Yeah, because the director is the person who really hires the DP, and it's really their collaborative relationship that's going into this. Like we said in the opening, we are not a part of the hiring of the DP that's falling into Mike's hands. So we just want to hear from directors, like, what is that experience like? What are you looking for? What's going on there? How do you decide the person that you're going to pick? So we're bringing on our friends today. We've got our dear friend Jason C. Brown, who has been a part of our world for such a long time that we had to like really think, like, how do we know Jason again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So fun fact, Jason was across the hall from me in my very first apartment here in LA. I almost said New York, and who knows why I would ever make
'Cause
up
you've never
that
lived in New
lie.
York.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. He lived across the hall from me. This was like 2006. He was just this nice neighbor and this nice neighbor dog. And my roommate and I, Audie Resendez, lived across the hall, and we would invite him over for our parties and stuff. And so that's kind of how the relationship formed. I think I even went with Jason to this thing he used to call, it was a thing that was called Another Showcase Showdown show, where I think that's where I met David Fickus.
Ah.
And yeah, and I remember going out to the Three Clubs bar around the corner from my
Oh,
house and hanging
yeah.
out. Yeah,
Mhm.
and Jason was really cool. And then when it came time, you and I were writing and making projects. I think he saw you coming over a lot to like film YouTube content we were making. Like
Mhm.
because you and I were filming in the front foyer of our apartment complex.
Oh,
So
all
like
the time. Yeah.
he was seeing us do all this crazy stuff. And so you and I were finally like starting to write bigger and bigger things. We're like getting our feet under us, and we needed a director. And so when it came time to do our first short film, Imaginary Friends, I was like, well, I know a guy that might be willing to be our director for it.
Tara's got this story all wrong. We weren't even on speaking terms.
Oh,
You
that's
and I
right.
were not talking when you
Yeah.
approached me. You had already got Jason signed on, and you said, "Hey,
Oh, I don't remember that
we're
part. I don't remember
making
him signing
imaginary
on.
friends. Do you want to be involved?" And I said, "I want my part, and I want to be
Yeah.
involved in any rewrites."
I don't remember signing on Jason without you, though.
Yeah,
That's the
I don't
part I
know
don't
what
remember.
I'm sure
I
Jason can
I
tell us the
wasn't gonna
story.
bring up the not speaking part. I was just gonna let that be not part
Yeah,
of the
no. Well,
conversation.
but
Yeah.
yeah, no, you and Jason came back to me with we're gonna make
Mm.
imaginary friends.
Okay,
And
I
I
do
was
remember
like,
that
all
now.
right. So
'Cause
it's
I had
Jason's fault
yeah.
we're here. Because
Okay.
if we hadn't done imaginary friends again, we probably,
Yeah.
not that we were never gonna speak again, we probably wouldn't
No.
have started collaborating again.
Probably,
Like,
yeah, I got
yeah,
a bug in my butt
we
about
weren't on
making.
non-speaking terms. We just weren't hanging out, and
Oh,
it's
this was
just, yeah.
after, yeah, I had the really bad
Yeah.
conversation with my acting teacher who was like, "You don't have a career, what does it matter? Do whatever you want." And I was like, "I'm gonna make 3 movies in the next year." That was
Mhm.
how that started. I was like, "What do I got?" And that's how Social Medium happened, which is how we got
Mhm.
way rolling even more. And then that, yeah, and then
Mhm.
Imaginary Friends, and I went to Jason and you. That's right, I forgot about that part. I thought I got
Mhm.
you on board first and then got Jason on board.
Well, you might have lied to one of us and told us that the other one was
Maybe.
already on board, and
Maybe. No, probably not.
probably
I
not,
probably
no.
did do exactly what I said I did.
Probably not.
Anyways, but that's how we got Jason. And Imaginary Friends, like, Jason was such a win. Like, he brought in
Well,
every in kind he could
yeah.
think of.
Well, so
Like
Jason is been in the business for a long time, and we'll let him tell
mhm.
his story with that. But like when we made Imaginary Friends, Tara and I had never done anything that wasn't just the two of us. Well,
Yeah.
that's not true. We had never really done it. We had our own
Yeah.
little camera and we were filming with friends and stuff like that. But Jason brought it to a real production stage and brought in some really amazing people with John Mattingly and just
Mhm.
all the team, the set deck and all of that. And when that happened, I mean, it was like we did real casting, and
Mhm.
we tried to bring in names, and it just changed the entire dynamic of what we were doing making films.
Right.
And it went from here, I mean, like the leap was so huge for us from what we were doing, what we were producing to what we ended up producing with Jason. And from there, we did Panic Button,
Mhm.
we did Social Anxiety. We've worked with Jason whenever possible, and yeah.
Whenever. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We've
he's
had a couple
always the
things that
first.
like yeah, we've had a couple things like we were actually slated to make the Random Words song parody with Jason
Oh,
when the
that's right.
pandemic
Yeah.
hit,
Yep.
and we had people cast. Like we were going to fund this, we were going to do it on a green screen and all this
Mhm.
other stuff. And then we had to go to Jason afterwards. Like, look, we're not the money's never going to go to that at this point in time. Our
Yeah.
priorities have shifted. We're going to make it like we're just going to do it in my living room. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're not-
Yeah.
so Jason is and then we did Social Anxiety instead. Like it was like,
Right.
okay,
Oh,
but
that's right. Yeah, we
instead we're
swapped
gonna
it out for
do
that. Yeah.
instead we're gonna shift our attention to
Yeah,
social
because
anxiety. So
we were shifting our
yeah,
career trajectory at that point, like, just the whole game changed, and, like,
which
when
I think was a
he's
better suit for
yeah,
Jason
I
than
think so.
trying to direct the music
Yeah,
parody,
yeah,
but
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think it was more worthwhile, and, like,
yeah.
Jason is something that we always have, like, his name on stuff, like, in the background, like, Jason doesn't know this, but we have, like, projects sitting in the wings that have
Yeah.
Jason's name on them. We just
Mhm.
we don't tell the people that we want on things until, like, we're, like, really sure because
Right.
we're
Until
nervous
those
creatures.
Hey, there's always so many things in the back,
Yeah.
especially since we've had a couple things that we were like full-fledged development
Yeah,
and then have fallen off. Like we've
yeah,
got,
we've learned.
yeah, so it's like and then that's our like working relationship with Jason
Yeah.
mostly. I mean, there's still the abridged version actually. But then Jason and I became like just thick as thieves
Oh,
Dodger
yeah.
fans together,
Yeah.
like, well, Jason Jason has season tickets to the Dodgers game, but I don't think he's ever worn Dodger gear in his entire life because he's a KC fan first. So he's
Okay.
really sneaky about this. He
Actually,
goes
now
in
that you
like
say that, I never noticed that fact until you
yeah,
say that,
no.
right? Yep.
Jason wears shirts that are adjacent to the Dodgers, but are not supporting the Dodgers while he's there. I think we should just like it'll be baseball. And you're like, it looks like a Dodger shirt, but it's not. And then he's got his KC hat on, and I'm like, I
Mm.
appreciate that. You're KC first, Dodgers second, and I've reaped the benefits of him having season
I
tickets
mean,
for
listen,
quite some
yeah.
time.
I'm of the mildest of mildest fans, and I have reaped the benefits of going to the Dodger games with Jason. I love going to games. It's so fun. You mean you'll take me to a game and I buy you a hot dog and some snackums? Deal. I will buy you all the snacks
Deal.
you want. Seriously, I love the snacks. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Uh,
All right,
all right,
without
let's
further
get him
ado,
in here.
let's
Yeah.
get Jason in here. Jason C. Brown, welcome, welcome, welcome to our
Hello.
podcast.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
friends.
So you also don't know in the background, I've been watching Jason like as he's like nodding along, going, "Yep, that's how that happened," or thumbs up,
Or
"Nope,
Thumbs
nowhere
up.
Dodger."
no, that's not how that happened because I remember the origin story differently as well.
Okay,
Oh,
wait. Like, okay, let's do the origin story first, and then I want to
uh-huh.
backtrack and hear about because I don't, as well as I know you, and as well as I think I know your history, I do want to hear about how you got
Sure.
into the film,
Yeah.
how you decided to become a director. Anyways, but
Mhm.
imaginary friends first. What's your origin story memory?
So I was hoping that you would introduce me as your across the hall neighbor, being
Okay,
that that
Mhm.
is where it
craft.
all started.
And I used to dog sit
And
for you, and I loved it.
exactly. I had a dog, a Pekingese named Kino,
Ugh,
and I
Kino.
distinctly remember walking my dog one day and talking to you in front of the building. And it was, hey, what's your big plans? What's your when we were exchanging ideas about like what our long-term goals were.
Yeah.
And this must have happened shortly after you're like, I'm going to make stuff. And I said, I want to direct stuff. And it kind of evolved. I distinctly remember that conversation in front of the building.
Okay.
And then, Imaginary Friends, uh, I remember that you said, I have this script. It's my baby. I wrote it with someone else. I had never met Natalie until the movie came up. And I remember that my memory is that when you first pitched it, you told me that your co-writer, you said, I don't know how involved she'll want to be, but I think she's going to
Oh,
want to be involved.
right. Yeah.
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 That
Yeah.
was it. It was like you didn't know what was
Yeah. Yeah.
happening. You were like, this is what we wrote together. I want to make this. I don't know how involved this random Natalie girl is going to want to be with the project. And then I said, well, send me the script. And then I have the exact date because I went deep. And on
You did your
Wednesday,
research.
Yeah, you did.
Wednesday, December 29th, 2010 at 9:33 a.m., I received an email from Tara Jane that says, very short and sweet, well, here it is, a little script we wrote about the power of imaginary friends with attachment. That's it. December of 2010, I received my first draft.
That's a
So
pretty
over
good pitch
Christmas
line,
for
I'm gonna
some,
say.
it worked out. I
Yeah.
mean, you did it. You sold it. So
Oh,
that was it.
wow.
So for some reason, over Christmas break of 2010, I got the first draft, which we all three know how much it evolved to being made 3 years later, 4 years later.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
right. Yeah, because I remember going through rounds of like figuring out the rewrite process, figuring out how to make it. Yeah, like it just
Yep.
it took a while.
Yep.
Yeah, amazing.
And
Okay,
it
I don't
literally
remember that part.
found
I
it.
blank out
You don't
like
remember
development.
that the captain kept appearing throughout the
Oh
script,
yeah,
and he appeared really early, and we had to take him out. That
I
whole
remember
bit.
that. Yeah,
There were
I
whole
remember that.
there were whole storylines. You should go back and look at the original draft. It's pretty
Oh
interesting.
my gosh.
Mm.
Natalie, I think you blank out pre-production development phases.
Yeah.
It's just like
No.
childbirth, so that you don't remember how hard it is, so that I can get you to do the next one, because otherwise you'll never do it again.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
That's
"Right,
why
no,
you have the
do all that."
podcast, so you can rewatch and relive.
No, don't let her do that. She won't do it again.
We'll never
She
make
won't.
another movie
She'll
again.
never. She's already said she never wants to make another feature film again, which I know is not true, because I'm gonna convince her to do another one. Okay, Jason, I want you to back up and tell me, how did you get into film and why directing? These two big things.
So I was born in Kansas City, hence my love of the Royals. I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio when I was 10. And then I went to college at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. So there, I was a zoology major because my dream was to work at the Cincinnati Zoo, which is the second best zoo in the nation next to San Diego. And you had to pick a minor at some point. So during my sophomore year, I was like, oh my gosh, like you can be a film studies minor. So I picked up a minor in film studies, which had nothing to do with making movies. It was more watching movies. And this basically, in that class, they showed you like an old 60s, 50s, like educational video in the first class in Film Studies 119. And it said, like, it gave you all the terms that you heard on a film set. It was like, this is what a gaffer does. This is what a key grip does. It said, this is what a zoom does. This is what a dolly in does. So it described the camera shots. And this is the difference between a tilt and a pan, you know, that kind of stuff. And it talked about what a production assistant did, being like, okay, this is the gopher on set. This is your point of entry. So I knew what a PA was. So between my junior and sophomore year, as junior and senior years of college, I answered an ad in a newspaper because it said film actors wanted. Film actors and production assistants come to Northern Kentucky University and audition or sign up to help this movie. So this was a movie that cost $7,000 to make. And that basically just paid for a generator, because it was a comedy horror movie called Avenging Disco Vampires. And that was the first movie that I ever worked on in my whole life, Avenging Disco Vampires. And it was a battle between, because the thought was that if you got bit by a vampire, you were destined to stay when you were bit. So if you got bit at a nightclub at Studio 54 in New York in 1974, you were destined to be a disco vampire for the rest of your for all eternity. So that was the story.
You can't change your clothes either.
No, you're stuck. That's your whole mentality.
That's your personality forever.
That's your personality forever. But they were battling vampires who had been bitten in the 1600s. So it was basically the gothic vampires versus the disco vampires. That was the battle. So it was an amazing, cute, short little feature that I worked on. So I got on set and I figured out that a stinger meant an extension cord. And I met a bunch of people who worked on that set. And then I started working on short films in Cincinnati. And then one day my phone rang, and it was the aforementioned John Mattingly, who was the first AD on Imaginary Friends. And John Mattingly called me and said, "Hey, what are you doing Tuesday?" And I said, "I don't have anything planned." He goes, "You want to make $150?" And I said,
Yes.
$150. I was like, holy
$150.
shit. I was like, yes. I was like, I'll do anything. He
Way to
goes,
go, John.
he goes, "I'll call you later with the details, but are you afraid of heights?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Good." Click.
Oh boy.
So I show up at the York Street Cafe, and they were making an osteoporosis commercial on the third floor, which was a ballet studio. And it was cheaper for this production company to hire me and put me in a condor 3 stories up to move the lights around instead of moving it, bringing it down, moving it, putting it back up, and seeing if that was right. So I brought a book, Bill Murray's My Life in Golf. I got a little care package of water, snacks, and I sat in a condor for 6 hours till lunch. And then I came back down, had lunch, went back up, finished the job. And then that was the last day of like a 3 or 4 day commercial at the York Street Cafe, where everyone after the job just sat around the cafe and had drinks and celebrated the end of the job. And then everyone was like, "Oh, are you the new guy?" And I was like, "I think so." So the next week, the producer off that job called and said, "Hey, I'm doing a Cintas commercial. Can you come help?" And I met a whole different crew of people. And the DP on that job called me the next week to work on something with him. And that evolved, and every job I've ever had in my career traces back to that job. And that was in 2001. And then in 2000, so I worked in Cincinnati for 4 years. And then in 2005, I moved to Los Angeles, California, where again, John Mattingly got me my first job. It was a low budget feature that shot in 15 days, a horror movie. And that job ended up meeting another assistant director named Mike Mustrick, who was, of all things, from Toledo, Ohio. And Mike was just getting into the DGA. He was getting his last non-union days to get in, as I was getting my day number 1. So he was a big factor in my career, saying, "Hey, here's how you get in. Here's the way to do it. Here's what everything means." And then I followed him on 3 more features right after that first one finished.
Wow.
And that all of a sudden, after those 4 features in a row out here, all of a sudden I had a network of, okay, here we go. So that was 2005. Then in 2010, I joined the Directors Guild of America, and I've been a DGA member since 2010. So that means that I work as a first assistant director, second assistant director, second, stage manager, associate director, UPM, and director, all in the DGA.
Oh, that's all in DGA. Okay.
All covered under the DGA. So I have every banner that you can.
Do you want to give a couple highlights, like what shows? I mean, I think just like pick your top 5 that you want to brag about.
Oh, top 5 shows.
Yeah.
It's an impossible list.
Yeah.
Because of, the way that this business works, in that everything is so different and weird and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the list is not complete without Weird, the Al Yankovic Story.
Yep.
Which starred Daniel Radcliffe and won the Emmy for Best Television Movie. Drunk History, because there's only 2 types of people in this world: people who love Drunk History and people who haven't seen it yet. That's it. If you see, you like it. The biggest movie I've ever worked on, the biggest movie of all time. I worked on the first Avatar. I was a PA on that job for on and off for 2 years. So that was, a career defining experience working with someone like James Cameron for that long. Mm-hmm. And then the most gratifying job that I do is Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I've done 14 segments. His is a show on HBO that he works out of New York, but if they have talent that's in Los Angeles or a location that they can't pull off in New York, they'll come out here. And I've been lucky enough to do 14 segments for that show that have gone on to win Emmys. And so like an episode like Border Patrol, where they need the Texas-Mexico border, that would shoot out here. We shot an episode on truck drivers, and they needed highway footage. that's out here. And then in the other cases, if the talent is here.
Mhm.
So the one that aired 4 days ago on Sunday had Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, and I did that one, which was on Medicare Advantage.
What were you
So
doing on that?
that's
You were
I was
production
the stage manager on that
stage manager. Okay.
because it's basically you're the first AD, but because John Oliver sits behind a desk and talks and gives the news, that's the contract it falls under.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
technically
Yeah.
a stage manager.
Yeah, I saw that on your IMDb, and I was like, I'm curious if that is like essentially the same thing, but just they term it differently because
Mhm.
It's
because
all
it's a
about the
different show.
contract. Yes, the
Right, yeah.
contract is
Yeah.
what determines what your job title
Got
And
it.
is.
it's
Yeah.
probably from when when SAG and whatchamacallit
AFTRA
merged.
AFTRA.
After merge, and so that kind of changed because after used to only have
A
the
lot of the
news
Flita
and
shows.
yeah. I remember when
The
that
stage shows
happened.
too, the facts
Yeah.
of life, the shows like
Oh.
that where you're in front of an audience, it's 3 cameras. Those
Right.
are
Yeah. I remember
stage
doing
managers
that.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember doing those after contracts way back in the day before they merged, and then
Mhm.
I remember joining both unions separately, and then they
Yeah.
merged. It's like, God dang it.
Just
My
spent
luck
all
was
that.
my
Yeah.
luck was crummy on that one, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That's so cool. So I mean,
Those
like,
are
I think
some
Highlights.
highlights.
I think the audience can see, like, one of the big reasons we really wanted to bring you on, aside from you just being amazing and full of great information, and again, the heart of a teacher, is that you've had this like huge varied career of working on little short films like our projects. You've directed a lot of little short films at this point, but also you've
Yeah.
worked on some really big sets, and I imagine you've
The
seen
biggest.
a lot of like the inner workings of how the big boys do it. So that's like such
Mhm.
a unique experience
And
for
I
us that
copy and steal from every one of them.
and we want you to relay all of that to us. Like,
In 30 minutes.
have you ever been around when the director is selecting, like you're working for a director and they're selecting the DP for their project? Has that ever been a part of your experience?
Not I. So for me, the DP and the first assistant director are so often hand in hand that we'll usually be brought in at the same time.
Same
Like
time.
when
That's
I
kinda what I
start prep,
figured.
that's the ideal is when they start prep. Because without each other, it's a little bit of a fool's errand in that I can prep all that I want, but if the DP says, "Oh, we have to shoot, you have to shoot this in the morning. This scene has to be shot in the morning because the sun's going to be over there." Well, then that I need all that information before I put some kind of a schedule together.
Mhm.
Oh,
So,
right.
and to
Okay.
and to his point, okay, if he's thinking, okay, this has to be at 6 in the morning, great. That means he can't do that because that actor's not available until, and
Right.
then I'm giving him information,
Yeah.
so it's a collaborative process
Oh,
there.
wow.
So
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So I wondered when you were in those
yeah.
first AD shoes, when
Mhm.
you're coming in on the project, like
Yep.
me as a producer, I can't wait to get my first AD. That's my favorite person. Like
Yeah.
I love I
That
love my
takes
first AD.
everything off your shoulders.
Oh my
That's all of a
gosh.
sudden
Just
a lot
having
of
that other
that
person in my
becomes
yeah. So yeah, that makes a ton
yeah,
of
they
sense.
lighten the load.
So in your first ADing career, like you've said we had this conversation outside of the apartment complex, and I don't remember that conversation. I don't remember a lot, apparently. But like in your first dating experience, like when did the moment happen that you're like, you know what, I want to be a director? Like,
Yeah.
what inspired that?
Uh, knowing when I was getting better at first ADing and knowing that like I having the confidence enough to be like, oh, I can control the set. I can, run this. Like it was kind of an extension of that. Plus,
Mhm.
I saw people who weren't very good at it. You steal from the good people, but you also
Mhm.
learn from the lesser people, and thinking like, oh, I could do what they do. I
Yeah.
can communicate. I can tell a story. I know enough about all the facets of this to be able to try it. And then it was kind of like the move to LA. You have to give
Mm.
it a shot.
Yeah.
You have to be like, all right, let's see if I can do this,
Mhm.
and then in the best way possible. That's when Imaginary Friends kind of fell into my lap through perfect kismet of being neighbors and finding a script
Uh-huh.
that I thought this is a great story to tell, and basically hitting a home run with it.
Going back to that a little bit, it was beyond the fact that like you upped our game so much with that. Like it did so well for a first for
Oh
a first for a
gosh.
lot of us. Like it had a lot of
Yeah.
success, and we had this whole like this is not what,
Yeah.
this is not normal. This is
Mhm.
not, this lightning striking is not normal like this. So
Yep.
it was
The
really,
amount of
a really
talent
awesome
that,
experience.
if you look back and look at the amount of talent that was on that show, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
you mentioned John Mattingly is the first AD. Eugene is the second AD. Like
Eugene,
that's the
yeah.
Eugene. I mean,
Eugene, oh
you think
God,
of
what a
Eugene.
second.
I think of Eugene, and then I think of that last shot of the short, and I was
Mhm.
like, "That's Eugene's shot." Like
Mhm.
I didn't have a chance to be like, "Okay, everybody, do this." You know, he knew the idea of what we were doing. I told him, I gave him parameters, but he was setting that whole thing while I was shooting Natalie's feet. You know, like.
Well, for those who don't understand or know this, the kind of way Natalie, there's a lot of foot acting that we talk about with Natalie. Jason likes to make
I
Natalie
anticipated that there
foot
would be
act.
an entire segment
Oh,
dedicated to
we're all
Natalie's feet
to Natalie
acting.
walking or some other foot
I'm the
acting.
worst foot actor there has ever been.
And
the
yet, every project we've ever done together.
That's
Everyone.
on you. That's on
No!
you.
Off the rails. For the
Maybe a little bit,
uninitiated,
but
the way
just
that the way
saying.
the hierarchy of work often falls is that the director is dealing with a lot of the bigger components. The first AD is doing a lot of the managing of like the keeping people on time, the crews and stuff, and it falls to the second AD often to do the crowd control stuff. So like anytime you see a scene with background actors doing background acting stuff, like crossing through, walking away, walking up, doing this, having a conversation, often that is the second AD picking out the people and putting them where they go and then giving them direction on what to do. So it's almost like a miniature directing position when
The
you're the
second AD position was a great training ground
Yeah.
for being a director, because you
You've
have
done
to
it a
give,
ton. Yeah. You've done
because
a
you're
ton
giving
of second.
every background actor, you are telling someone who just woke up, okay, you're now in a classroom. The teacher is going to say this. This is your reaction. Be an actor. Go. And
Yeah.
that stuff, I mean, Imaginary Friends isn't what it is without that last shot.
Seriously.
And
Yeah.
and
A
the
lot
whole
of things
thing,
aren't. Yeah.
completely. And you can see the difference between people who are in it and people who are not. And a good second AD really gives a movie texture if you can get
Yeah.
the background to look
Mhm.
like they're supposed to look, especially when
Yeah.
it comes to period pieces or, you know, key things. You know, setting a restaurant scene is a lot different than setting a minute-long Steadicam through a school or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is like the first AD is more of a producer-y kind of brain, whereas I feel
Which
like the
there is
second,
crossover there quite a bit.
yeah, exactly. Which is why I just like every first AD I ever have, I fell in love with. The second is really that director plays. So,
For
and
the
I could see
background,
like that second being like a good training ground for you for becoming a
Mhm.
director.
100%.
So, with all of this experience that you've had and now heading into the directing position, talk to me about like what it is you're looking for now. Now that you've had a couple of films under your belt, short film wise, what are you looking for a DP?
Mhm.
And-
So we all know this. DPs love their reels. Okay. So this is the best thing that someone who makes moving pictures look pretty has to offer. So right out of the gate, you look at a reel. I think this is a perfect conversation to have with the both of you, because when we did Imaginary Friends, you guys brought Way to the table, which I thought was amazing. You showed me his stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the right guy to do this. Like, he's a guy who you were both familiar with, so that made it automatically like a couple steps up on anybody else who could come to the table. Okay, so right there, built-in relationship.
Mhm.
2, great reel, so you see the talent. Okay, so he knows what he's doing. He knows the shots. For me as a director, it's also like it's the collaborative vibe, in the sense that from my first conversation with him, he was like, I can't wait to talk to you about this and this moment and this
Ooh.
moment and this moment. So that's a big green flag for me when they're like, okay, I can already see things in my head about how things are going to look, because the director does the same thing. So the DP's in the same boat. But a DP who comes to me and goes, oh my gosh, when we do blank, that's going to be so much fun. I'll give you a good example that's not DP related. When we made Panic Button, okay? So as we are wont to do, we'll usually send the script to our editor before production to say, hey, if there's anything we need to get that you see in this script that I might not be thinking of, let me know.
Okay.
go back to Imaginary Friends. When we sent it to Brian said, make sure you get, when you get into the car before the reveal of Toogie, make sure you get her hitting the lock on the door. Which I was like, maybe if we have time. But now that Brian said it, okay, we'll definitely get that shot. And that's exactly what it needed to cut between the door closing, your face. It needed that little insert to be able to set for the reveal. Panic button, Bryce, our editor on that, when he said, I said, what notes do you have? He said, make sure you get the shot where the panic button works. We hear the thing, and then Natalie crossing in front of Tara for the I hate you. He was like, that's the one you have to nail. And it was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Like, and of course I know that, but to hear that reinforcement about this might be more important than you think it is. Okay. So same thing with the DP. What you're looking for is someone who can look at the script, look at the material and go, okay, this, I have questions. This, I really want to know what your vision is. This, you know, XYZ. You guys talked with Way about like, okay, when this character is here, it's always, I worked on the television show Medium, right? Medium with Patricia Arquette. She's a psychic. Whenever she's in her visions, everything is handheld. Whenever she's in real life, everything is on dolly or Steadicam. Like that kind of relationship with a DP to where you establish the parameters, you establish the rules. Not unlike working with your writer of Imaginary Friends. What are the rules of the Imaginary Friends? You set all those templates, you know? So I think that having a DP who begins that collaboration is so key.
So you'll say that, I mean, advice to DPs who are looking, you know, trying to get work, that one of those things is when they send you the script, come back with like ideas. I mean,
know
specific
the script.
Moments.
Know the script.
Like,
that's it. Know the script. You have to know every element. Those are the biggest red flag is someone who doesn't intimately know that script to say like, okay, but we can't do that because remember this happens later. You know, that kind of thing. That's what you don't want.
Way said that. Way was like, I'm there to protect the integrity of the script. And I was like, I just have never, ever thought of it from that direction.
It varies. It varies. But the more familiar they are with the script, and I take out script, replace script with story.
Story. Yeah.
He might have said story.
Yeah, he might. Whatever. Yeah.
Doubtful.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like the green flags of like interviewing somebody, like from your experiences on so many sets, and you can pull from like the big sets and then the small sets. What are some of the like the green flags on set that you've seen of a good DP?
Communication. Number one, because the number one thing that a DP can do is A, give good estimates, and B, tell you when they're ready or when they're close to ready. The worst thing a DP can do is be like, yep, it'll take 20 minutes. And then 40 minutes later, you're like, how much longer? Okay. The other thing is there's nothing worse than a cinematographer who finishes lighting something and doesn't tell anyone.
Oh. And now we're just waiting and we don't realize.
Or, hey, we're ready. Hey, how much more time do you need? Oh, we're ready. We've been ready. Well, that's good information to share.
Oh my goodness.
Also, just managing expectations, you know. The DP, the best cinematographers are the ones who are conscious of the schedule. Okay, they know that we have to be done with the restaurant scene by lunch, that kind of thing. Okay, the red flags are the cinematographers who take an hour to light something and you only get 10 minutes to shoot it. You're shooting to lighting ratio. You're shooting to setup time. Okay. The more time you're shooting, the better. But it's going to look beautiful if you take an hour and a half to light it, but you only get 15 minutes. You only get 6 takes. You only get 5 takes.
Yeah.
In the most beautiful set. Well, how do you balance that? You know?
Yeah.
And some places you want that.
Yeah.
You need a cinematographer who is conscious of the schedule.
I have been working on a lot of student films and like lower budget things. And I have seen that a lot, that time management of like getting it perfect. And now you don't have any time to actually do the shot. Like, and I saw someone comment on it recently, and I think it might have even been one of our interviews. Someone touched on it too, in that your people aren't going to remember where that thing is like that bucket is in a weird place, as much as they'll remember that there was bad acting in it, or it was,
Yeah.
you know, like, so your lighting, having the very right shadow on the whatever, blah, blah, blah,
I shot
is
a
not
film.
nearly as important. Yeah.
I shot a very critical scene in a restaurant of a family reconnecting. It was a fancy restaurant, 125 background, fancy wait staff, and the setup for the master was taking a long time. And I saw the cinematographer, like, in the back room there was a bar, and he was setting lights on the bar in the back room. And as the first AD, I had to go over to the director and say, hey, you're going to get 2 takes at this if we don't go right now.
Right.
And she walked over to the DP and said, basically, like, hey, nobody cares if the bottles are lit
Right.
2 rooms away. Like, this is a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, we need
I
to
mean,
go.
yes, ideally we don't have that blank space, but
you know, and he completely understood. He just
Yeah.
like backed up. He's like, oh my gosh, you're right. Okay, let's go. We're ready. We're ready. Bring him in.
I think that's it's easy for people, directors and DPs, to get caught up in that and get lost in it.
Everyone has blinders on in this business
at some point in time. Yeah.
I can give you a very famous story about that if you'd like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So there's a feature film shooting in Romania, and the production designer, I heard the story directly from the production designer. And this was back in the 90s or 80s, maybe, when after the day's shooting, you would go and watch dailies. Like everyone would go to a little theater and watch dailies. So the scene that had taken place the day before took place in what was supposed to be a basement that no one had walked into in 20 years. Cobwebs everywhere, dirt on the windows, you know, it just 6 inches of dust. That's the scene. So the production designer goes in before the shoot. He does everything. He goes through everything. And then he looks at the highest windows, which are completely clean. And he says to his team, hey, make sure we get those windows. Have to make sure that those windows match everything else. Well, for some reason or another, that part did not get executed. And he had left. So he goes into the dailies and he watches it. And the whole place looks dusty and dingy. And then the camera pans over and you see these pristine, perfect windows. And he thought, oh my God, they're going to fire me. This is awful. Well, the dailies end, the lights come up, and he like rushes out across the street to the bar. And he goes into the bar, he sits down, he orders a drink, he looks over and he sees the department head of makeup. And she is weeping. And he said, oh my God, what happened? What's wrong? And she turns to him and says, what, you didn't see her eyebrows?
Oh, there's always going to be that thing that is
everyone looks at their job and has an insanely high standard for it, as they should.
But I think that's such a great
there's nothing more than everyone is so self-critical. And an audience can watch that and be like, it was a gunfight in that scene. No, I wasn't looking at her eyebrows. I wasn't looking at those windows.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's just
shooting. They were shooting guns at each other.
Well, that's just a great like life parable, because like so often we are in our own heads having our own conversation, what other people are thinking about us.
They're not.
And really, honestly, they're not. They're not. They don't care about you. They're thinking about their own. They're thinking about what you're thinking about them. Like that's such a I mean, like to some degree, yes, we should always bring our A game and our best work. But also, let's give ourselves a little grace when we forget to dirty the windows.
Well, and I think that's one of those.
It's probably going to be okay. You strive for perfection.
You strive for perfection. You're never going to reach it. So
no, but we strive. We wake up every day.
And that's a great testament. Like you said, when you're on the big shows and you have a crew of 250, getting everyone to singularly be ready for that one moment is not easy by any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
You know,
no, it's so hard, so hard. When you're in the director role, and you're putting together, like you're like early on with us, with the Imaginary Friends, Panic Button. When do you like to bring on your DP?
Um, I would say that happens fairly early in the sense that for Imaginary Friends, the biggest thing I think for that one was the production designer and the cinematographer. For something like Panic Button, it's like, oh, this is all cinematography. So I think as early as possible, just to wrap your head around what, for a director, what toys you have to play with. Okay, because that influences your planning, that influences your shots, that can influence your tone. Like I think Panic Button would have been very different if we didn't have the drone.
Yeah.
I think it would have. I think we would have had to do something different to start the film. So knowing what tools you have. Oh, will we have like Imaginary Friends? We all three knew that we had to have a crane for the last shot, and a steady cam would have been nice. But if we didn't have the Steadicam, that would have also drastically changed how that film was directed. So I think for the tools aspect, I think it's important to have them on early so you can formulate a plan better. And then also to go through and, with your DP is where you manage expectations. Social anxiety is a great example of that, because without Way, it was, okay, do we stay here and have you change quick? Or do we do this, then this, then this? How do we manage the extras? How do we do this? When's the best time to shoot out the door? Is that going to be first up? Is that going to be last up? So again, as a director, you need to have your P's and Q's, all dialed in, and all that trickles down from the cinematographer. So
with the cinematographer, and so that's a lot of the technical side of it. When are you guys talking mood boards and stuff? Do you make mood boards?
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't. The most of the DPs that I work with all do. Gary Bush does, Way does, Drew Suppa does. And I'll rely on that, because for me, the mood board on a movie is so visual that I will usually take the DP's mood board and I will change, I will tweak, I will substitute out things, because obviously things are going to inspire with look and tone. But for me, I'll fall in line with because the mood board comes from a discussion between the director and the DP. Very rarely does it come first, because I don't think any DP wants to be like, oh, I was way wrong about what that tone was. So usually it's after a conversation with the director, it gets put together.
Are you a storyboard guy as well?
Depends.
Okay.
It depends on the job.
Okay.
I like to storyboard sequences versus entire projects, because usually on the projects I'm directing, it's limited prep. You only have so much bandwidth. I thought so. For social anxiety is a good example. Like Way and I had we had everything pretty mapped out. The one thing that we were pretty locked in on was the Natalie and Alan bits. When we got in everything outside the house, we pretty much knew what the heck we were doing. Inside the house, we wanted to make, because of the space of the house, we wanted to make sure that we had a really good plan for the Natalie Allen pieces. So that sequence was very, very, very tightly discussed and mapped out. Everything else we pretty much had a good idea on.
So I want to dive into that really quick, because
Please.
So anybody who's seen Social Anxiety, this couch scene, there is a that's a truck that come in. Is that okay? I never remember the dolly versus a truck or a.
I don't use truck. I don't know.
Then okay. So the camera starts back at one point in time, and it's on.
I would say,
and it moves in
slowly.
I would say
it's a truck. I think truck is forward, dolly is side.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think so. Anyway, yeah, it's a truck. It's a truck. Anyway, but when did that come up in conversations that you wanted to do this? It's not going to be just a stagnant. We're going to have how did that conversation happen?
It happened at Idle Hour, where Way and I prepped. We each got a beer, and we went through and Way had overheads of the house drawn out.
Yeah.
And through that, it was, okay, what's the scene call for? Okay. So this is the first time that your character has actually made it into the house.
Right.
So we didn't want it to be a hard cut into you. So as Way and I that was my pitch, and then as Way and I discussed it, now it's okay. What's the best way to finally bring this character into the house?
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, I think we pulled back off of the glass.
Oh yeah, it started close up on the glass.
It
Yeah,
started
for sure.
on the glass because if you've seen the short, you know that a lot of the impetus of her going there is to deliver this. She has the bottle of wine, right? So that went okay. Well, she always has the drink. The drink is the runner. So let's start here inside on a drink. We pull back and we reveal Natalie. And then let's keep pulling back and show that not only is she just in the party, but she's actually talking to someone. Like that was how we wanted to tell that story. So it starts on the script and then it evolves into, okay, but how does, and Way loves this, how does the camera tell the story? So then that's what you have to find. Okay. So it didn't, I think social anxiety would be very different if it went from, yeah, come on in to smash cut to a 2-shot of them sitting on the couch.
Right.
Not visually interesting, a little jarring for the audience. Like, wait, where are we? Who's that? But if I can start in the glass, get your first line, and then reveal, that takes the audience on a journey.
And it's also something we hadn't done in the entire. There's nothing else like it in the entire film.
Completely, because that character is in a completely new space.
You had to tell the story. Like part of what we kept struggling with that script was how do we make them think that this moment is different than the previous one? How do we make this reality seem real? And part of that, I guess you guys came up with like this movement that hadn't happened throughout the whole thing. Interesting.
Completely. Because and that's what you wanted. You wanted the audience to think, oh my gosh, this is different. She's in, and then surprise them with, nope, just kidding. She's back on the lawn one more time, So
that's a conversation between the director and the DP of like, how do we tell this story? What does this scene need? Okay. Interesting.
This would be Way and I
This
would be Way and I looking at each other and going through the script and going a big X and go, this needs something.
Oh, okay.
And then we would discuss, how can we visually do something different to trick the audience?
Okay. Oh, that makes so much sense.
All of a sudden, we're sliding back, we're dollying back, we're telling that we're setting up a whole new tableau.
Yeah, I like that.
And then we get them again. Fun. And then we return to the same filming style that we did before, and the audience is right back at square one. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
Prior to even talking to a DP, the director usually has all those beats picked out, of this is where visual storytelling changes. This is where something needs to happen here.
Oh,
this is where an insert shot has to break this up. This is
and I would say to all of our baby director and baby DPs that are watching this, I think a takeaway there is, and from everything we've done, preparation.
It's everything.
Like, don't wait till you're on set to make these decisions.
Oh my gosh, no.
Have this collaborative conversation.
Yeah.
And if you can't have the collaborative conversation and you're the director, come in with it already decided. If you're not going to collaborate in the moment.
Directing is making decisions, and the more that you can have figured out before there's 20, 100, 200 crew members standing around
staring at you,
the better.
Well, I think what you're saying about having those moments in the script where you know that there's a visual story that needs to be told already picked out, then now helps you when you're looking for that DP and you're having the conversation. If they're bringing to you, like, I also see that this needs something like, yes, we are on the same page. We are of the same mind. You and I will collaborate well because I did my homework and I know that this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. When you go through these conversations with any crew member, sound, editor, DP, it's, I hadn't thought of that. Or they go, I hadn't thought of that. And then you explore that, it's a lot of, because people are, no matter what you do, 10 people can read one script 10 different ways.
That's so true.
That's an
So
exercise at AFI, is that they'll take film students, they'll all give them the same script, and they say, okay, you all have to pick a different genre of the exact same words.
I like it.
oh, that's
Yep.
fun. I like that. I would
Yeah.
It's
love to sit
fun.
there
It's
for that. And
the stuff these kids come up with is so
oh, I want to
entertaining too.
see that. Oh,
It's
AFI, can I
really
sit in?
impressive. Yeah,
That's
Mhm.
it's
cool. I
really
like that.
impressive. Yeah,
That's really cool. Okay, just one before I let you go. I like asking this question to help any
please.
of our other baby filmmakers out there. Is like
Mhm.
when you are as a director, when you are being approached by somebody with a project, what is it
Mhm.
you're looking for that goes, this is the film I want to jump onto?
At the outset, you want a script that tells a great story, that if it's a short, hopefully has some kind of little something memorable.
Mhm.
Okay. I think everything that I read, I want some memorable moment.
Okay.
I want to find that in every script, because even in projects that do need help, if you can find one magical moment, I think that that's worthwhile to do. And then you want the collaborators also,
Mhm.
because it's more than the script. If you're directing a project, these are people that you're going to be working very closely with for days, weeks, months, years. And I think that's a big factor too, is knowing that the people that you're collaborating with, it is more than the script. You could get the best script in the world, but if you're going to work with horrible people, then what's the point? You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think that it's twofold. It's the people that you're collaborating with, and then the story itself, and then how realistic it is. If you're
Oh.
if you get handed a 10-page short that's all stunts and explosions and sci-fi, it's like, okay, like let's
Which
realistically talk about how you make this look.
And it's possible that they come to you with like, yeah, I've got this stunt coordinator already lined up
Yep.
and blah, blah, blah. And you can
Yep.
go, okay, then yes. But if
But
you
it
just go,
feels
Yep.
like
hey,
that.
this is a great script, and it is a
Yeah.
great script, but you're like,
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to film on top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
And
That gets written all the time.
Yep.
It's like, okay, there's babies on the beach, and I'm like, oh God,
Oh
no,
God.
that's gonna be
So many
that's a
things.
thing, So
No, so many
So
things.
don't come to Jason with babies on the beach.
No babies on the beach for Jason.
that's
Got
just
it. I will scrap
just
3 of my
No
scripts.
babies.
no babies anywhere.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Before
we
we
just
go,
started.
I
I
know.
know.
I feel like we
How?
could continue on for
How?
well,
We
here's the
literally
thing.
just started.
At some point, we're going to hit a moment in this podcast where we're going to want to bring directors back on to talk about
Sure.
directing in general. And I know we're going to bring you on for that kind of stuff. So like the audience can already look forward to having you back on the show. In the meantime, where can the people find you, especially if they want to hire you?
I think Instagram is very easy. It's Jason C. Brown, DGA.
Easy piece of cake.
Easy. Yep.
All right. That is a wrap on Jason C. Brown.
Thanks, everybody.
Jason.
Yay!
You guys are the best.
Go Dodgers.
Go.
Go Dodgers.
As expected, amazing conversation.
I was like, yeah, we could talk again.
Oh no,
we should stop bringing our friends on because
we gotta stop.
can't.
We gotta stop. We gotta bring people we don't enjoy talking to. I think the problem though is you and I are such inquisitive people as well that you and I will think of like 10 more questions we have to ask you. Like,
Right. We're not
and
moving
then-
on to our next question
no.
until
And then-
I pick this part of this story. Wait a
Thoroughly
minute.
have
Yeah.
like taken every bit of meat off the bone on this. It's just that is unfortunately who we are. Whatever. All right, this is going to bring us to my favorite section of the show. I am
ready.
until you have the card.
I'm ready.
All right, this is the Abby Singer shot. Abby Singer shot is a term for the second to last shot of the show.
Second to last camera
filming.
setup, just so you know.
Camera setup. Thank you. Second to last camera setup. That is actually a really important
A
notion.
very big distinction.
Yeah, there's a very big difference actually. And it's our moment to learn a little bit of vocabulary, some slang we need to learn. Natalie goes out and does some research and she brings it back to us. Today, the Abby Singer is.
So today's Abby Singer is a term, a slang that's
slang.
used on set. I think I'm moving more towards slang and stuff on set.
Oh, I'm here for slang.
This is walkie-talkie slang, and people know this one, but the origin and stuff might be surprising. 10-1. 10-1 is used primarily, almost solely on walkie-talkies, and it means you have to use the restroom. And so what you will say is like wardrobe's 10-1. and you will then wait for approval before you just take off. And then you can go use the restroom without your walk. It means you're not going to be available for a moment. Now there's another one, 10-2, which means you're going to be taking a little bit longer time. And then
I like how delicate this is.
right. And when you come back, you have to like say that, you're back on headset or whatever, there's no term for that. However, I mean, maybe there is, it's just not as widely known. The legend is that this originated from police radio talk.
Okay.
And that it was, but 10-1 per police radio talk means weak signal, that you're not going to be, they can't reach you. So it makes sense, but is that true? I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know
it.
that it means that it's a weak signal, but is that where the crossover came from? I don't really know. Started become on set when walkie-talkies got on set in the 70s and 80s, and then it just became like by the 90s, using it everywhere. Like 10 months.
Oh, that's so fun. So fun. Any of our crew friends, filmmaker friends out there who've got terms that you really love, let us know, and we will go look them up and put them on the show. We want to learn all y'all's slang, even your like zone specific slang, the slang they're using in like Shreveport for teams. I know there are different words. Give it to us. We want to hear it. We want to learn it. Love that stuff. All right. Before we head out, another reminder about our PayPal and our super chat situation. If you want to help us make a movie, we got a mechanism for that. It is PayPal. It is super chat. Drop us some coins. No amount is too small. We've got a bank account that is in the process of being set up that we'll start putting the little funds into. So excited. If you want to be a bigger part of this and executive producer credit, I don't know, email us. We got a deck to show you. We got paperwork. We're legit now. We got a lawyer involved. It's all coming up Millhouse, and it's going very well. So if you want to be a part of this, please reach out to us.
We're award-winning script,
and we are well on our way to being funded. So we really are. It's actually really exciting and wild. Next week, we're going to be speaking with another director, Patrick Curran, who Natalie knows from the film festival circuit.
Yeah, I met Patrick at Breckenridge Film Festival. He has a featurette. It's a very, very long short, not quite a feature, but it's really good, called Snowbird, and he's working on directing his first feature. And I just fell in love with his movie. So we will be interviewing him next week, and hopefully he'll hear this, and then he likes me and cast me. That's really all this. I'm just using this to get cast in Patrick's
to get work.
I'm not going to lie about it. Lie about it.
Why hide that fact? Then they might not know what you're trying to do. All right, guys, if you are watching this podcast live with us, but you're like, man, I can't make it next Wednesday, don't worry. It's a podcast. It goes out the day after in podcast form with the audio cleaned up and beautified for your ears. So find that wherever you find podcasts. If you're a podcast listener and you want to join the conversation, we do this show live on YouTube Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific time. There's a chat going, and we are watching the chat and looping your questions into the conversation as we go. So if you want to be a part of this, we want you here. Please join us. All right, guys. So such a good interview. We'll see you guys next week. Stay safe. Make movies.
Go Dodgers.
As a special treat in the credit cookie today, we're going to bring Jason back in. This is not normal. This won't always happen, but it's Dodger season.
It's Dodger season.
Playoffs. It's important. And they were itching to talk about Dodger talk the entire time we're talking about film talk. So we're going to let them do it now. Any of you baseball fans out there, chime in as well.
Some of our biggest fans are from Canada. Did you? They're fans of Natalie and Tara, but they're not fans of the Dodgers.
I also want to chime in on your Abby Singer setup, which I really love. I thought 10-100 is definitely one of the most commonly used phrases on set. And, like you said, it's walkie-talkies talk. So people say things like 10-4, that's what and they say, what's your 20?
I know.
What's your
Don't give them.
location?
Okay, well, we're in post.
You're in.
You can do whatever you want now.
Because I have to do one of these every week. So don't
Yeah.
don't give them all away right now.
No,
Email me
you,
with all your
you,
favorite
you,
ones.
you can
Email them
bring this one
in.
back only because it's about going to the bathroom. The other
Yeah.
silent way to do it is do this. If you do
Oh,
this.
okay. If you're not on walkie,
This is
if you have a visual on somebody
Uh-huh.
and you wave and you go like this, you twist your things together. That means I'm going to the restroom.
Noted.
Why is
All
it
right.
sign language, or does this mean something? Am I doing something dirty?
This is no. This is you are. It is the motion of ringing it out.
Oh, okay.
So you'll often
All
hear
right.
a grip say, "Hey, I'm going to go ring it."
Hmm.
Means that they're going to use the restroom.
Ah,
Got it.
I-
All right.
I mean, I gathered what 10-1 meant just from people saying it, but but it's not one that anybody ever told me. You
Nope.
know, it's just like you're on
You
set.
just
No,
pick it up.
Jason, I really do want to pick your brain about like just send me all the slang.
Oh yeah.
There's a
like
bunch
Jason
that
knows
I want
all
to
of
get
them.
to because like there's
Yep.
so many weird ones where people
Yeah.
say things and you're like, what the
Yep.
F are they? Yeah. But we won't ruin them now because I have to do a whole season of Abby Singers.
I've got a whole
Oh, no,
thing.
no.
Yep.
We
Okay.
got like another 100 episodes of this show left to
Was
go.
your first one?
can't
Did
burn
you
them up.
say who Abby Singer was?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Abby Singer
yeah,
was our
that's
very
fun.
first one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's what we called it, Abby
that's
Singer Show.
that's as good as it gets.
You know how that started was we were looking through trying to
Shannon.
name the sections of our podcast, and we were
Mhm.
trying to find names that were film adjacent for different things. And then we
Perfect.
just we went away from it, but that one stuck around.
Perfect.
And then
I
I've
love
got
it.
myself weekly homework of finding a new Abby Singer show.
Good.
She got
Good.
herself to sign something. She hates it.
Jason, in our comments earlier, I think it was David
Yeah.
Faith, which we have a super chat we need to thank
Oh,
as well.
That's
Oh,
right.
boy.
From David
fail.
Faith, right?
From David. Yeah, it's from
Yeah.
David.
David's wonderful.
David,
It
I'm
was
so sorry.
Thank you, David. So
Oh, David,
um,
get on him for not thanking. Come on.
no, but
God,
David asked the
that's-
question later on. I think it was David who, if you, when you're directing multiple Natalie and Tara things, do you see them in the same world, or are they like parallel universes or anything like that? Like, are these?
As in, do I see you two differently?
I don't know. Like, that's what the question.
Oh, yeah,
Like-
of course.
like-
Every project I look at you differently. Yeah.
Oh, I think he means like, are all the
The
projects
characters.
like a parallel
Your
universe? Like,
characters?
yeah,
Oh, are they?
no.
Do they exist in the
Do they
same
exist in the same
universe?
world? Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so.
they have different
Uh,
names.
I don't think so, because if they did, I think that would be too easy for me.
Ah,
If it was always the same, but
Mhm.
God, those characters in our three projects together were all wildly different, and that's
Yeah.
what makes what we do great. You know, but
was
that's a good
fun.
question.
Yeah, it was funny because for a while, Tara and I, the majority of what we wrote for each other was Tara was the doe-eyed optimist, and I was the angry one. I mean, we were writing Dead Parrot again and again.
Yeah, again and
But
again and
the
again.
3 projects we've made into
Yep.
have not been that. You
No.
know,
Mhm.
Social Anxiety was not that. You
Not
know,
at
Not at all.
we didn't do the 2 straight man whatever characters
Mhm.
in
No.
that one.
No, it's
Panic
very
Button
different
was
story.
that. Panic Button was.
100%.
Yeah.
And Imaginary Friends was not, though. Like
No.
a little bit, but not really. That's not what that
Mhm.
wasn't the joke.
No.
Right.
It wasn't an oil and water conversation. It was
No.
it was more the situational comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very much
Yep.
so. David Faith also says that he's cheering for both teams equally, just so we're all aware. Our Canadian in the room is cheering
There
for
you go.
everybody.
So
Yeah.
I'm
anybody,
cheering for 7 games now. That's what I'm cheering.
are
for.
you?
Is that what you're cheering for?
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Really? You want to
Game 7.
stretch this into November?
I do. So Dodgers win.
Why not? They
tonight.
stretched that one game for so long.
Toronto
Let's just
wins
I
stretch
know.
it
game
all
6,
out.
and then game 7, winner take all. That's
Well,
what I'm.
Oh my gosh.
Tomorrow will depend on whether or not I want it to
So
stretch
much,
into a 7.
so much stress.
If
Yeah,
we
so
win
much
today,
stress.
then I don't want it to stretch into a 7. If we don't win today, then I do want it to stretch into a 7.
There you go.
Oh,
There
so
you go.
stressful. Yeah.
Jason was
Another-
at that game, guys. The
Yep.
18
innings.
That
inning
was a
game.
wild
Through the whole
game.
thing.
My
Yeah.
I
previous
was-
longest game was 13 innings. I think it
Okay.
was down in San Diego, and if I
Mm.
remember correct, I have to check the ballpark app, but I think it was a 0-0 13 inning
Oh,
game. And I
wow.
just kept thinking
Wow.
at that game, oh my gosh, are we gonna sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" again? And
Yeah.
then it
Oh.
happened, and the announcer gets up and goes, "Dodger fans, please join us for a very special 14th inning stretch.
Wow.
And then everybody stood up and they
So
played
cool.
Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
That is
in
so
the middle
cool.
of the 14th inning.
So I saw that the next morning. They didn't show that. I'm pretty sure they didn't show that on the national coverage. Because I just remember there was one time where there was like a really weird long commercial break for like in the moment, in between innings. You just don't have like
right out of the gate. The first thing you realize is, oh my God, these breaks are so long. Where normally I think they're 2.5 minutes. Now they're 3.5 minutes.
Oh,
and the
wow.
breaks between innings are so long, and it's Dodger Stadium. The only thing they did was Cap Shuffle and Dodger Trivia. That was it. They didn't do any other like in stadium things that they sometimes do, that they do in the regular season. They didn't do any jumbo jacks, no McDonald's.
They were trying to get that mariachi band there. Like they were like, oh, we need the mariachi band.
Anything. But it was very muted between innings.
I was curious if they were like still serving food, because sometimes they cut serving food.
Oh no, they stopped. The beer cuts at the end of the 6th.
The beer, I understand. The food, I'm like, man, I'd want to.
People were getting hungry. That is
wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
People were getting hungry.
I get it.
You don't realize you think no game's going 18. Like,
no, you don't know
yes,
that.
it's twice, like, and so there's no way that you think that
you would know
in a million years.
Yeah, you would never.
With that caliber of pitching, especially knowing that Dodger bullpen has been so suspect. Toronto's, that's not the strength of their team either, with these great hitters. And then it got colder. And like the ball wasn't traveling as far.
Whoa.
I mean, the Dodgers thought they won it twice. And both times it was
just died. The ball just died.
Short or it was
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that game. Yeah. That
my
was
poor guy, Will Smith.
Yeah.
I was
he
working
just missed.
Yeah. He was celebrating.
Yeah.
Were you in your regular seats?
I was.
Yeah.
Okay. I was. It was pretty special. The most special part about that was you should ask Ficus for a picture of seeing Kershaw like up against the like he was right next to us the entire time, like at the fence watching the game. And then if you remember, all the other relievers kept going in and kept going in and kept going in. And so it was getting really lonely down there. So all of a sudden it's down to just Kershaw, and like it was down to the very end.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was crazy to watch.
Well, and then when Yamamoto came over there,
that was that was a spark.
Yeah.
Because anybody in the stadium, when all of a sudden when he showed, because for 2 innings while Klein was on the mound, no one else was in the bullpen except for the bullpen coach and 2 bullpen catchers.
Yeah.
Nobody. They were out of pitchers. Yeah. So nobody was warming up. They were just sitting there watching the game. No players were there. And then 18th inning starts and Yamamoto walks into the bullpen.
And then somebody was just
entire section, there's a wave. I literally picked up my phone and called Mike Horowitz. So we were in 51. No, we were in 53, my seats. He was in 49.
Okay.
And I picked up my phone and I said, Yamamoto just got to the bullpen.
And so then it starts spreading from over there.
Then it literally, everybody. So the stadium was buzzing that he was in the bullpen. Wow.
Because from home, we saw the interpreter come over to Roberts and the pitching coach, and
had no idea.
We all knew something was. We're like Yamamoto's. So I mean, even just on our couch, the little murmurings that started happening, but we already knew something was coming up. And then obviously the camera came over to it. But even before that, we're like, are they going to send? And they were already in the broadcast. They had already asked Dave Roberts, and he said, "Well, we're going to go to a position player,
Rojas."
And then,
because Kike had already been pulled. I had said in the 12th or 13th, I had said to Ficus, you know what Dave Roberts should do? He should send Blake Snell to the bullpen when it was empty. And I said, just have him start stretching. Just have him start stretching. Never in a million years would I have thought that he would have sent Yamamoto out there to start warming up. Because I was like, no. Impossible.
And for anybody who doesn't know, Yamamoto, the 2 days previously had pitched a full game. And Snell had pitched the game before, the reason they didn't send Snell, day of rest. The reason they didn't send him is because he had warmed up that day. He had already had his bullpen day pregame. So that was the reason they didn't send Snell. And also it turns out Yamamoto, you just weren't going to stop him, is what I hear. It's like he was like, I'm going. I'm going.
I heard he volunteered for it so that they could save.
Well, that's what the
I was
interpreter
like, that's so
came over and was like, he wants to go pitch. He wants to go. And they're like, no.
They're like, I'm going to go.
I'm just going to go in case you need me.
The last time that had happened was in 88. I think it was Oral Hershiser had won a game and then on 2 days rest came back in to close out another game.
Bueller had done it.
That. Yeah.
Bueller had done it. I don't know if he actually ended up coming in. He ended up warming up where it was like he went, I don't remember, but yeah, he said he had lied to the coaching staff. I think he did come out. He had lied about being warmed up. Like, are you? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. I stretched this, and he hadn't done shit. And so like I saw an interview with him where he's like, oh yeah, I just totally lied. I was like, no, I'm good. And then he's like, I went in there and started immediately throwing as fast as I could.
There were 10 legitimate magical moments in that game that just bizarre things happened. That weird pickoff at first base.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams had a runner thrown out at third. Both teams had a runner thrown out at home. Mm-hmm. It was pretty incredible.
It was a two crazy games in one.
Completely.
Like where there's enough highlights to enough. I actually was even thinking about like the number of like records that were set that day. Even were kind of insane. Like tied for the longest game ever, tied for ball. And I was like, it has to be close to tied for the most pitches, or because we don't have the pitch clock.
609.
Yeah. You didn't have the pitch clock, and it lasted as long as some of the longest games. So that means you had to have had a lot of pitches.
So many.
I don't. It was
so
crazy.
Many.
Yeah,
crazy.
It was a wild game.
It was absolutely bananas. Yep. The scoreboard once it reaches once it goes past 11, I think the scoreboard has to like start sliding.
Yeah, so you don't get to see the first inning anymore.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So at one point, I have a photo of it. It says all zeros, score 5-5.
Yeah.
Because it got all the way to the point that because nobody scored in the 8th. Yeah, nobody scored in the 8th.
That makes sense.
That's fun.
Yep.
Because I saw the 14th inning stretch video, and it does go over to the scoreboard at one point in time. And that's how I was like, that's how I knew it wasn't the 7th, but I also couldn't figure out what I was looking at. That makes sense. I was like,
it was very confusing.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Very confusing.
That's fun.
Wow.
So fun.
Very memorable.
Amazing.
So, game 5 tonight.
5:08, I think it's start time.
Game
it's going to be fun.
5. Very amazing. All right. Thank you for joining us, guys, for this Dodger Talk. It's a very special night.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Dodger Talk, movie talk. I mean, that's pretty good.
Just a little both. Yeah.
Yep.
People out there in the chat, thank you for joining us. David Faith. I want to just single you out now. David Faith, thank you so much for your super chat. Jason C. Brown, we heard Natalie was going to pay you in beef from Natalie's key grip truck.
There you go.
Would you care to comment? Yeah, that was that. Thank you, David.
Jason would take a slab of beef. I think.
Oh, he definitely would. Like, he understands.
We've only ever paid him in sake before, and I think
that's an improvement.
We could do a whole podcast on that rap party.
Oh my gosh, that was the most fun. That was such a great rap party.
Epic.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Jason. We're definitely going to have you back on the podcast when we loop back to director stuff. So thank you so much. And guys, we'll see you all next week for another amazing After the Credits cookie credit. Bye.
Bye.